Today, we are diving into a groundbreaking shift happening in Italy's food industry. One of the country's oldest meat producers, Gruppo Tonazzo, is making a bold move. They're dropping meat entirely to focus on plant-based foods. So why is this happening and what does it mean for our planet? Let's break it down. First, let's talk about Gruppo Tonazzo. This family-owned brand has been a staple in Italian households for over a century, known primarily for its pork and beef products and Italian butchery methods. But in a bold move, CEO Stefano Tonazzo has decided to shut down all meat-related operations. He explains that this decision comes from a deep responsibility to future generations. Now, you might be wondering why the shift to plant-based and how does it matter to the future generations? Let's look at some stats that may have inspired the move. Almost 44% of the world's habitable land, around 5 times the size of the United States, is used for agriculture. Agricultural land is mainly divided into two types: croplands and grazing lands. Croplands make up only about 1/3, while grazing lands account for 2/3. But here's the catch. Only half of the croplands grow food for direct human consumption. The rest is often used to grow animal feed, biofuels, and other industrial products. When we combine grazing land and cropland used for animal feed, we find that 80% of agricultural land is devoted to livestock. This means that most of our farming land is used to raise animals for meat and dairy. Imagine if everyone switched to a plant-based diet. We could reduce the land needed for agriculture by an impressive 75%. This is because we would need much less land for grazing and fewer crops for animal feed. But how did we come up with this number of 75% reduction? To get to this, first, let's establish the amount of land used to produce 1,000 kilocalories of energy from various foods. This illustration shows how much land is needed to produce 1,000 kilocalories of different meats and plants. And you will see that it takes almost 120 square meters of land to produce 1,000 kilocalories of energy from beef and around 117 square meters for mutton. And though it drops a lot for the next item on the list, cheese still takes up almost 22 square meters. In comparison, tomatoes, the highest plant-derived food on the list, uses just over 4 square meters. Now, the meat fanatics would already be screaming their pants off that farmed prawns take less land than that, but those with a keen eye would have noticed that it is an exception and that top 10 on that list are all animal sources of food. For those of you who are about to argue that the amount of protein derived is what matters the most, we have another chart. Nuts, the highest plant-derived foods on this list, takes only 7.9 square meters for every 100 grams of protein as compared to whooping 163 and 185 square meters for beef and mutton. Tofu, a popular healthy meat alternate which is seeing a massive increase in global adoption, on the other hand, uses a measly 2.2 square meters of land. Now, for those of you who are scared that you will end up seeing a change in your gender because of the phytoestrogen in soy, can see that groundnuts and peas, excellent sources of proteins themselves, have a similar land use as tofu. And beans, probably the best source of protein, which on this chart are represented as other pulses, use only 7.3 square meters of land. If we were to look at this data for every kilogram, the story still is the same, and in a world where we value efficiency a lot, there is this whole other data about what is the efficiency of the protein input versus output when it comes to animals. But that is a topic to be explored in detail in a later video. Now, of course, there will be a ton of questions that all this data would have raised, and we would love to hear those questions and objections and try and address those in our future videos as well. Unfortunately, at the moment, the world is battling a crisis where lands used for animal farming are expanding instead of moving away from it. And this move away is important as this expansion of livestock farming is a major driver of deforestation and loss of biodiversity. Much of the world's non-ice and non-desert land is used primarily for livestock farming. In fact, the land used for meat and dairy production is comparable in size to the entire areas of the Americas from Alaska to Argentina. Now, there is an argument that a lot of the pasture lands are not fit for farming, and in any case, so they are best used for grazing. But what needs to be noted is that where these grazing lands exist today, biodiverse ecosystems once persisted and supported a lot of life. And importantly, all of that land freed up by moving to a primarily plant-based diet can be rewilded to aid recovery of biodiversity and in the process sequester the planet-killing carbon dioxide gas. Now, this is another topic for us to explore in a subsequent video. So if you like what we are building up to, please subscribe to the channel and turn on that bell notification icon. Coming back to Tonazzo's move to a plant-based future. Will they be able to survive this move financially, as they could lose all their customers who may simply move to another brand? Well, so in this case, let's talk about Kioene, Tonazzo's plant-based brand that has been around for 40 years. Going forward, Tonazzo will focus on Kioene, which is already a leader in Italy's meat-free market, reaching around 2.3 million households. Kioene offers a variety of products including burgers, cutlets and falafels made primarily from legumes and vegetables. While some products still contain eggs, the company is expanding its fully plant-based line. As Albino Tonazzo, CEO of Kioene, says, we want to contribute to environmental preservation and foster collective awareness. This statement makes it clear that they are committed to leading the change in the industry. So one might argue that Tonazzo is an exception and that they can easily make this move without taking a financial hit. But this change is not just driven by the company's financial interests and through its well-established past. There is a major change in the society as well. Italy, Tonazzo's main market, has shown some interesting trends. A 2023 study revealed that 59% of Italians are actively reducing their meat intake due to health concerns, antibiotic use, and environmental issues. We are witnessing a similar trend worldwide, with many communities adopting completely plant-based diets. This growing demand for plant-based foods shows a shift towards conscious consumption, and companies like Tonazzo are leading the way. And this also gives a great hope to other companies who may want to make that shift without having to worry about financial ruin. And the shift away from traditional livestock farming is gaining traction because of this fact elsewhere too. Take Lawrence Candy, for example. He was a beef and dairy farmer who made the bold decision to retire his herd and switch to growing cereal crops. Now he runs Northwood Farm in Dorset, England, where he cultivates organic beans and grains on his 134-hectare farm. His cows now enjoy life at Hillside Animal Sanctuary in Norfolk. But it's not just established brands making the shift. New brands are emerging every day, focused on delivering delicious plant-based meat alternatives. Good Dot and Imagine Meats from India are great examples. Imagine Meats, co-founded by Bollywood actors Genelia D'Souza and Ritesh Deshmukh, has quickly gained popularity for its plant-based offerings. And there's exciting innovation on the horizon too. One groundbreaking technology is precision fermentation in dairy. Instead of using cows, scientists are using microbes like yeast to produce animal-free dairy proteins such as casein and whey. This means we can make our dairy products like cheese and milk with fewer resources and lower emissions, and they will taste the same as milk and cheese we are so used to. On that positive note, for those who want to hold on to their cheese forever, we will bring this video to an end. Before we leave, What are your thoughts on this shift? Will other meat producers follow suit? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon to stay updated on all things sustainable. See you next time.